This video holds a truth most women over 60 were never told. If you've looked in the mirror and thought, something feels off, drop A in the comments. Have you ever caught your reflection and paused? Not because of wrinkles, not because of your outfit, but because something just didn't feel right? Your expression looked duller, your eyes seemed smaller, or maybe your whole face appeared more tired than you felt inside. The surprising culprit? It might not be your makeup or your hairstyle. It could be your hair color. Yes, the very shade you've trusted for decades might be the thing draining your glow. After 60, our skin tone naturally shifts. It softens. It fades slightly. It develops new undertones, sometimes cooler, sometimes more neutral. But many of us don't update our hair color to match that change. Instead, we cling to the color we had at 30 or 40, out of habit, comfort, or even a little fear. But that same deep black, icy blonde, or vivid red that once made us feel bold might now be emphasizing fine lines, hardening our features, or even clashing with our natural beauty. It's not your fault. No one teaches us this. But the great news? You don't need a dramatic makeover, just a gentle shift. A small tweak in tone can brighten your face, soften your expression, and help you feel like you again, only more radiant. Today, I'll walk you through 5 colors that may be working against you, and 3 shades that do the opposite: soften, brighten, and help you glow. No harsh rules, just honest, thoughtful advice to help you choose a color that honors where you are right now. Jet black hair. For decades, it's been a symbol of strength, sophistication, and striking beauty. It's bold, it's powerful, and for many women, it's been part of their identity since their 20s or 30s. But after 60, something shifts. Our skin becomes softer, less saturated in color, with undertones that are more delicate. And suddenly, that rich, dramatic black that once made our features pop now starts to pull them down. Instead of framing your face with elegance, jet black can harden your features. Fine lines look deeper. Dark circles appear more pronounced. Even if you've slept well, your reflection might not show it. And if your hair has thinned with age, which is completely natural, that deep, inky tone can actually make the thinning more obvious. The contrast between black strands and light scalp creates visual gaps that weren't there before. But here's the emotional truth behind this shade. For many of us, changing from black can feel like letting go of a part of ourselves, like losing a version of who we once were. And that hesitation? It's valid. But change doesn't have to mean loss. There's a softer path. Transitioning to a soft black, a deep espresso, or even a warm dark brown can keep the richness you love, while offering more harmony with your evolving skin tone. These shades reduce harsh contrasts, gently soften your features, and reflect light in a way that brings life back to your expression. It's not about giving up on black. It's about letting your color evolve with you, not against you. This subtle shift can feel surprisingly empowering. It's not a dramatic transformation. It's a graceful update. The kind that doesn't scream change, but quietly says, I see myself, and I deserve to glow. Platinum blonde. It's a color that exudes elegance, boldness, and sophistication. For many women over 60, it seems like the perfect choice, a graceful way to blend in with natural grays while still making a modern statement. And let's be honest, it can feel like a kind of freedom, going lighter, letting go of dark dyes, and embracing brightness. But here's the truth that doesn't get talked about enough. Platinum blonde is often not as forgiving as we hope it will be. As we age, our skin naturally changes. It becomes lighter, thinner, and less elastic. Undertones become more visible. Redness, uneven patches, and areas of dryness or translucency. The very features we want to soften, platinum blonde can unintentionally spotlight. That icy, cool-toned color might look striking on a model or in a magazine, but on mature skin, it can make you appear washed out, tired, and even older than you are. Instead of bringing radiance, it drains the warmth from your complexion. Instead of lifting your features, it can flatten them. And worst of all, it can make you feel like something is just off every time you look in the mirror. Then there's the hair itself. Platinum blonde isn't a wash-and-go color. It requires heavy bleaching. Bleaching strips the hair of its natural pigment, yes, but it also strips away essential moisture. For women over 60, whose hair is already more fragile and prone to thinning, that can be a serious issue. You may start noticing more breakage, split ends, or that familiar dull, straw-like texture that no amount of conditioner seems to fix. And with age, hair also tends to lose its natural shine and strength. So, any additional chemical stress only accelerates the decline. Let's not forget maintenance. Platinum blonde demands near-constant attention. Roots show up fast. Yellow tones creep in. You're suddenly tied to salon appointments every 4 to 6 weeks, along with toning shampoos, deep masks, and treatments just to keep your hair from turning brassy or dry. For many women, the upkeep becomes exhausting, not to mention expensive, and yet they persist because they believe light hair is their only option for aging gracefully. But here's where everything changes. You can go light without going extreme. Instead of bright, icy platinum, consider soft champagne blonde, warm honey beige, or golden sand tones. These shades still bring that sun-kissed glow, but they do it with warmth. They reflect light in a way that complements your skin, not competes with it. They soften your features, give your face a gentle frame, and work with your natural coloring rather than against it. Warm blondes also grow out more naturally, meaning you don't need to run to the salon every time your roots peek through. And because they require less bleaching, your hair stays healthier, shinier, and easier to manage. One more thing. There's a powerful emotional shift that happens when you stop fighting your natural tones and start enhancing them. Many women describe it as feeling like themselves again, but softer, more elegant, and less stressed. Your hair no longer feels like a battle. It becomes part of your flow, not your fight. So if platinum has been your go-to, or even just a tempting idea, ask yourself, is it lifting you up or wearing you down? Are you maintaining it out of love or out of habit? There are always options. The goal is never to abandon color, but to find the one that brings out your best self today, not the one that used to work a decade ago. Red is fire, red is confidence, red is fun, right? But after 60, that same fiery red might be saying something your face didn't mean to. Let's take a moment. Have you ever looked at a photo of yourself, hair freshly dyed in a bold red, thinking it would add spark and youth, but something just didn't feel quite right? That's more common than you think, because while vivid red, like cherry, fire engine, or copper red, might have looked electric in your 30s or even 40s, after 60, our features change. And that boldness? It can actually become a little too loud for the room. Here's why. As we age, our skin naturally becomes more delicate. It thins slightly, loses some of its evenness, and develops softer undertones, often with hints of red or pink. When you pair that with a strong, saturated red hair color, it can exaggerate what you don't want to highlight: broken capillaries, uneven tones, or facial redness. Instead of glowing, you may find your face looking more flushed, even tired or blotchy, especially under natural light. And let's talk upkeep. Red fades fast. You might love it the first 2 weeks, but then it starts to shift, becoming dull, brassy, or patchy. And to keep it looking vibrant, you're back in the salon every few weeks. That's more chemicals, more time, more damage, especially on hair that might already be more fragile. And here's the kicker. Vivid red draws all the attention to the hair, and sometimes that takes the spotlight away from what matters most: your eyes, your smile, your natural warmth. So, what's the alternative? What if you could still feel vibrant, expressive, but without overpowering your features? Enter the reds with restraint. Think auburn, mahogany, cinnamon brown. These aren't boring reds. They're mature reds. Rich, dimensional, warm. They still bring life to your face, but in a softer, more flattering way. Auburn gives just enough glow without overwhelming fair skin. Mahogany has that touch of mystery and elegance, perfect if you like deeper tones. Cinnamon brown warms your look while being low maintenance and versatile. These tones complement natural grays as they come in. They reflect light in a way that lifts your face, not drains it. And they don't scream, "Look at me." They invite you to be seen. Because here's the truth, no one tells us. After 60, we don't need louder color. We need smarter color. You deserve hair that brings out your beauty, not competes with it. And while red will always have a place in the world of bold, sometimes turning the volume down reveals something even more radiant. Next up, a color that sounds edgy, artsy, and modern, but could be pulling your look in the wrong direction. Let's talk about purple, and why it's trickier than it seems. Purple hair after 60? It sounds fun. It looks bold. But does it actually work? Or is it quietly working against you? Let's be honest. There's something empowering about color. And as we age, that power becomes even more personal. After years of wearing the same shades, many women reach their 60s with a sense of freedom. You've earned the right to play, to experiment, to express yourself. So it's no surprise that colors like eggplant, plum, deep violet, or even moss green suddenly look tempting. They say, "I've still got spark." They whisper, "I don't follow the rules." They scream, "I'm not fading, I'm evolving." But here's the tricky part. Not all colors are designed to work with the beautiful changes that happen in our skin after 60. Deep purples and bold greens, while expressive, can create an unflattering contrast. As we age, our skin tends to become paler, more translucent, sometimes with red or yellow undertones. And that rich, moody color you saw in the salon mirror? It might be pulling all the warmth out of your face, leaving you looking dull, tired, or worse, washed out. And the truth is, these trendy tones don't age gracefully. They fade quickly, unevenly, and not always in flattering ways. If you've ever dyed your hair dark purple, only to watch it turn patchy pink or muddy brown a few weeks later, you already know how hard these shades are to maintain. And unlike more natural tones, they don't grow out gracefully. They clash with gray roots, demand constant touch-ups, and often require harsh chemical removers to correct or change. That means more bleaching, more ammonia, more damage to hair that may already be finer, drier, or more delicate with age. So, what's the alternative? Because yes, you can still be creative, you can still be bold, but it doesn't have to come at the cost of softness or elegance. Instead of going loud, go luminous. Try something like lavender glaze, a sheer, soft purple overlay that adds just a whisper of color. Silver blue lowlights, blended into natural gray for a cool, ethereal shimmer. Or even smoky lilac highlights, which look modern and expressive, but still flattering under natural light. These options give you personality without overpowering your features. They work with your complexion, not against it. And the best part? They fade gracefully. They grow out beautifully. They say, "I'm still vibrant, but in a way that elevates, not distracts." Because when we talk about color at this age, we're not talking about rebellion. We're talking about refinement. We're talking about color that highlights your eyes, your skin, your smile. Color that reflects your experience, not hides it. So before you reach for that bottle of deep plum or sea green, ask yourself this: will this color let my natural beauty shine, or will it steal the spotlight? Coming up next, let's flip the script. Let's explore the colors that actually flatter after 60, tones that lift, soften, and bring a glow you can't fake with filters. If jet black feels too harsh and bold colors feel too loud, there's one shade that sits beautifully in the middle, elegant, timeless, and quietly powerful: warm chestnut brown. There's something undeniably graceful about this color. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't try too hard. But somehow, when you see it on someone, especially someone with smile lines and a sparkle in their eye, it just works. Chestnut brown is a warm, balanced tone that sits perfectly between deep brunette and soft golden brown. It brings a gentle richness to your look, adding depth without darkness and warmth without overwhelming gold. On mature skin, this is key. As we age, our skin naturally loses some of its natural color and glow. Where once we could pull off cooler or more saturated tones, now we need hues that reflect light, lift our features, and feel in harmony with our complexion. And this is exactly where chestnut brown shines. It's full of soft cinnamon undertones, a bit of gold, a hint of auburn, just enough to add radiance to your face without drawing attention to uneven tone, redness, or fine lines. Think of it as the flattering light you always wish your mirror had. More than that, chestnut is incredibly versatile. It works with short pixie cuts, mid-length lobs, soft curls, sleek bobs. There's not a single cut this color doesn't enhance. It flatters a wide range of undertones, from warm beige to neutral olive to deeper tones. Whether your eyes are hazel, blue, brown, or green, this color makes them pop just a little more. And perhaps best of all, chestnut brown is low maintenance, especially compared to jet black or platinum. It blends beautifully with gray roots as they grow in. Instead of harsh contrast lines that scream, "retouch me," you'll notice a graceful transition, like the strands were meant to grow that way. For many women, chestnut is the first step away from a color that's no longer serving them, and the first step toward a softer, more radiant version of themselves. It's not about trying to look 30 again. It's about choosing a color that celebrates who you are now. A color that keeps the attention on your eyes, your smile, your energy, not your roots. You don't have to commit to a full head of color either. Chestnut works beautifully as a glaze, as lowlights, or as a rich base for subtle caramel or honey highlights. It's a shade that grows with you, not against you. That adapts to each season of life with grace, simplicity, and a quiet kind of confidence. So, if you've been searching for a hair color that doesn't fight your age, but rather flows with it, warm chestnut brown might be your answer. It's not just flattering, it's freeing. And if you're someone who leans toward the lighter side of the spectrum, something just a touch sunnier, a little more playful, this next shade might be exactly what you've been looking for. If you've ever thought going blonde would feel too risky, but black and brown feel too heavy, let me introduce you to the most graceful in between, caramel blonde. Caramel is that perfect sun-kissed shade that doesn't scream for attention, but gently whispers warmth, light, and vitality. It's not as stark or icy as platinum blonde, which can sometimes wash out mature skin. Instead, it sits comfortably between golden brown and soft honey, offering just enough brightness to lift your features and make your eyes sparkle. Think of caramel as the golden hour of hair color. It softens the face. It brings light to the cheeks. It warms the entire expression without making you look overly made up or like you're trying too hard. And the best part? It flatters so many skin tones, especially those with neutral or warm undertones. Many women over 60 find that caramel blonde adds just the right glow. Not too light to be high maintenance, not too dark to feel dull. It's friendly, it's inviting, and it works beautifully with natural grays growing in underneath. In fact, as the roots begin to show, they blend in softly, making it one of the lowest maintenance blonde options available. It also pairs wonderfully with wardrobe staples. Earth tones like olive, cream, navy, terracotta, or brighter shades like coral and teal all come alive next to caramel hair. The tone enhances your natural coloring without overpowering it. It adds a softness that often surprises people, especially those who've worn darker hues for years. Caramel is also a wonderful way to add dimension to your hairstyle. If your hair feels flat or thin, this shade can create the illusion of volume by catching light in all the right places. And for those concerned about damage or dryness, caramel doesn't require as much bleaching as platinum or ash blonde, which means your hair stays healthier, softer, and shinier over time. And don't worry, you don't need a full head of caramel to feel the difference. Many women start with caramel face framing highlights or a gentle balayage, then add more brightness over time as they get used to the look. It's a journey, not a jump. So if you're craving lightness, brightness, and that radiant, effortless feel, caramel blonde might be your glow-up color. Not just flattering on the outside, but energizing on the inside too. And if you're not quite ready for a full color change, don't worry, there's a middle path. A way to keep your natural tone, but elevate it in the softest, most sophisticated way. Have you ever noticed how a soft ray of light across your hair can instantly brighten your whole face? That's exactly the magic of honey brown highlights. They don't demand attention, but they quietly enhance everything around them. You don't need to dye your entire head or commit to a full transformation. Sometimes, just a few strategically placed strands around the hairline, along the crown, or at the top layer can lift your look in the most natural way. These gentle golden tones catch the light beautifully and create a soft frame around your face, almost like nature's own filter. Honey highlights are incredibly forgiving. They blend gracefully with natural browns, warm blondes, even silvers. That means as your roots grow out, the transition stays soft and lived in. No harsh lines, no monthly panic to touch up. And because they're subtle, they work on all lengths and textures, from pixie cuts to long waves, from straight strands to curls. What's more, honey tones add dimension to your hair, which can make it appear fuller and more voluminous, especially helpful if your hair has thinned with age. They're also gentle on the eyes and complexion, bringing a glow that reflects inward and outward. This isn't about making a statement, it's about creating harmony. It's the kind of color that doesn't shout, but whispers beauty with every turn of the head. So, let's bring it all together with a final reflection, because this journey isn't just about choosing the right shade, it's about honoring who you are now and glowing in your own light. Your hair is more than a color. It's a quiet message to the world, a reflection of how you feel, how you see yourself, and how you choose to show up in this chapter of life. After 60, you don't need to chase trends, reverse time, or try to look 30 again. You've earned something better, the right to look like you, fully, confidently, beautifully. The shades we've talked about today aren't about changing who you are. They're about supporting who you've become. Whether you choose a warm chestnut, a glowing caramel, or just a few soft honey highlights, the goal isn't to cover anything up. It's to let the light in. Your hair doesn't have to scream for attention. It can simply shine with quiet confidence, because beauty at this stage isn't loud, it's luminous. It comes from choosing colors that soften, enhance, and move with you, not against you. Maybe for years you kept the same shade out of habit. Maybe you were told, don't go gray, or don't go light, or never try something new. But here's the truth. This is your choice. not theirs, not society's, and certainly not the voice in your head that says, "What if I can't pull it off?" You can, because when your color complements your spirit, not competes with it, you don't just look better, you feel better. Color should never compete with your beauty. It should complement it. If this video sparked something in you, if it made you feel seen, hopeful, or ready to try something new, comment the word "glow" below. And share this with a friend who deserves to feel radiant too. Because beauty doesn't fade, it evolves.